Salam. My name's Riddhi. I went to the SSE Sai Centre in Leicester, and it was during the 90s.
Sarah, my name's Nurali. I also went to Leicester Sai Centre in the 90s. We both attended SSE at the same time as well. And we'd basically just like to share with you how SSE and the centre has impacted our lives and the bonds that we've made for life. What's your fondest memory of like the SSE or the centre? Like what's the first thing that sort of pops into your head?
Probably I'd probably say bhajans, and just, you know, the smelling the incense and hearing the manjira and the tabla over the sound speakers. I would say also, like I said, some of the art projects and things that we did where we were very creative and we thought, you know, about poetry and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed some of those things, and like I remember them straight away. Like you remember the colors and you remember the clay and the feathers and the sequin and the glitter and, you know, all those Christmas rehearsals as well. I mean, I do remember being bored as a kid, just like going through these Christmas rehearsals and like singing it 10 times until it was, you know, you got it. And what about you? What's your fondest memory?
Do you know what? I've got a few, but I feel like as if they're on like different levels. So like when you were just talking now about budgeons and everything, one of the biggest things that I remember, and I don't know whether you'll recall this as well, is like when you well, this is in the old Saw Valley building as well. When you enter upstairs, the massive picture of Swami that you had with like, and it was like that round chair that Swami had, is a picture where Swami was sitting on this round chair like that, and he was quite young. He's like in his 30s, and he had like really big afro hair and he was smiling, and that I just still remember that photo being so radiant, and that photo always stayed with me. And like even when we went to Prashanti and like, you know, you give donations and stuff like that, and then they always give you a photograph, right? And I remember one time when I went with my mom, I was thinking to myself, oh, do you know what, I really hope they give me this photograph of the same photo that we had back in Saw Valley. And I remember thinking that, and when I went there and they gave the photograph, I was like, oh my God, it's exactly the same photo. So I was just like, I was so happy that Swami had like heard that prayer, because it's like one of my favorite photos, that one is. The other thing that is quite fun that I remember is Akhand bhajans, and we used to bring our sleeping bags, and then we used to go sleep in the back in the classrooms. Well, we would try to, but really we just sort of like mess about a bit and stuff. But it was always so fun. It was like a sleepover, right? So that was always really fun. And then the other memory that I have is when we did the Michael Jackson dance. I still remember that for Swami's birthday, for like Man in the Mirror. And it was so cool because we learned some pretty good skills. I'm not gonna lie, like we learned how to flip a hat and all sorts, you know what I mean? So those are already like really great memories. And even things like teaching, because we became teachers after we had graduated from SSE as well, isn't it? And I suppose that's what also inspired you to then go into teaching, I presume, or like, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was definitely, when I was training, it was one of the kind of examples of models of how to really bring the best out of children and young people. Lots of things to reflect on, so many memories. But
Definitely, we've had so many gurus along the way as well, right? Like I think our gurus really like shaped us, even the way that they taught us, the way they would interact with us, and just how welcoming and loving that they were as well. Like, do you remember when we went to Bharti Auntie's house and we went to watch like the Ramayan and everything like that? And that was like, like it was all of us together, and it really felt like as if, you know, we were just going to like, you know, our friend's house or our mom's house or something like that. And I still remember, like, you know, we just all sat down on the floor, and then we would talk about key moments we were watching in the Ramayan and everything like that. And actually that reminds me of two things. One thing is seva, the importance of seva, that the center and being in SSE placed like honors, right? And like if you think about it, the professions that we're both in is actually such a privilege to be able to help and serve others, right? Because we're literally shaping and saving people's lives. And and I don't think we probably would have gone into the professions that we're in if it wasn't for the center and if it wasn't for SSE, because if it hadn't instilled that spirit of service in us from a young age, like, you know, when we used to have like global service day and stuff like that, like we used to go to that, we used to help, we used to like run games and things like that as well. Like all of those things were like so important. And so like even now, like, you know, we'll go, you know, we'll go abroad and we'll go and help, you know, medical camps, teaching camps, everything like that. We will go and do it because it's so, it's almost like it's a part of our soul, it's a part of who we are. But the other thing is as well is how much it brought us like closer to Swami, like the trips that we would take to India as well, you know, and those trips to India always served as a spiritual recharge for us as well. It was like a world away from the world. Like you've got the secular world and you've got the spiritual world. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like as if when you go to India and you come back, you just such a sense of like grounding, and you feel like as if you can deal with like the world again, you know. But it also brought us so much more closer to Swami. Like if it wasn't for SSE, if it wasn't for the center, there's no way that we would have those opportunities that we had to be as close to Swami, like physically, as we were, like when we went to India and stuff. And like performing all the plays, and also just sitting in darshan, having the discipline to sit in darshan. I mean, like when you have to wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and then you're waiting in line forever, then you're trying to get a ticket token, then you go in, you sit for another 3 hours and then you wait for Swami to come out, and you're like, do you know what, it's well worth it, do you know what I mean? So I feel like as if it taught us so much discipline as well. If there's one thing that you wanted to tell our audience today, like a message from you, what would it be?
If you have the opportunity to be a part of a school or a center that is important for the whole community, be a part of it, make the effort, because you do get out what you put in. And having faith in something is important, so make the effort, because you will bring out the best in you and other people. What about you? That's really difficult, actually. It's a really tricky question. Yeah, you put me on the spot and made me answer first. I just gotta copy my ideas now. But what would you say? What message would you give about the center, and for the audience to take away about your memories?
I would say whatever good opportunity comes your way, always take it. So one thing that the center certainly has done is whatever opportunity has arisen, it's always given the opportunity to children, to the teenagers, to us growing up, even as young adults. It's always given us those opportunities. Anytime that you say yes to an opportunity, it's always an opportunity for growth as an individual, for your community, for the center. Also, it brings about a sense of family, right? Because like we've always said that even if you don't have a family outside of the center, it doesn't even matter, because you've got a family within the center. So just want to say thank you to all of our gurus, thank you to Swami, thank you to all the aunties and uncles who, you know, helped us along the way as well and provided us with those opportunities of growth and learning and being our family.
Sairam.
Sairam.